What's going on, guys? You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show. We are covering WWE Survivor Series 2019. This is your WWE Survivor Series 2019 review, dropping for you all November 24th, 2019. Thank you guys for checking out this show. We're streaming a couple of different outlets. We're streaming via our Discord chat room server. Check that out when you guys get a chance. Link for that is in the episode description. Also streaming via the RCWR Show app, available in the Google Play Store, and we are streaming also on YouTube and on Spreaker as well. So, man, I gotta tell you, look, that main event match there with the women, Becky Lynch taking on Shayna Baszler, taking on Bayley, champion versus champion versus champion. You look, good match, but I think as far as the outcome for it kind of really brings to mind exactly, if you're a Bayley fan at least, just how much, or you could maybe say how little, the current bookers feel towards Bayley right now. You could almost make that argument based off what had went down there in that main event match, right? I definitely know there's going to be some of you guys that probably looked at that outcome and it probably left a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. But if you have even been checking out NXT these past several weeks since they've made their way over to the USA Network, I would like to believe there's been a lot more people that's been getting behind Shayna Baszler and everything. And look, if you've been a long time NXT fan and supporter, then you all are quite happy with what you had saw there, right? That just gives you even more validity, right? Making the argument about why Shayna Baszler is so badass and why she's going to be a force to reckon with whenever she moves on up to the main roster. Now, the question, could that move happen a lot sooner than we think, right? Given the way all of that had played out in that match, right? We'll talk about that. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth a little bit, but let's go in strong. Let's talk about the last couple of minutes that we had saw. And I do want to know what you guys had thought about tonight's Survivor Series. So I got two polls that's up right now. I haven't done Facebook poll yet, but I do have the poll kicking right now over on Twitter, so you can vote that way. And we also got the poll on YouTube as well. You can head on over there by clicking on the communities tab and you'll be able to see that poll that way. And then we'll follow up later on in the show on what you guys had thought about Survivor Series, because I can kind of give you guys a little bit of a gauge right now for Twitter, because that's been up for a couple of minutes now. Yeah, surprisingly early voting is coming in via Twitter, and I'm seeing it at about 64%. 64% of people are giving tonight's Survivor Series pay-per-view event thumbs down. You heard me right. 64% currently are giving Survivor Series a thumbs down. That is according to our Twitter poll. If you disagree with that, take your pick. Just vote once. I don't need you double dipping, right? You double dip. Don't need you to double dip like the episode of Seinfeld. Pick one. You can either vote on Twitter or you can let your voice be heard on the communities tab. If you've got the Twitter, I say go there. Go to Twitter. More people that vote and all that, the better. So, yeah, I mean, look, I had no problem, first of all, with Baszler, Bayley, Becky Lynch closing out the pay-per-view. I totally was fine with that. And I really did not see a few people that I was interacting with, but mainly I was kicking back, just enjoying the pay-per-view tonight. I really didn't see that many people complaining over the fact that the women were closing things out. And honestly, to have a WWE pay-per-view where Brock Lesnar is not opening up your pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar is actually sticking around closer to the end of the night, like, that's a major plus, right? I mean, because if you would have told me that it was going to be Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio that was going to be on before your main event match, which was the women's champion versus champion versus champion, I would have said, hey, that's great, right? Because that was one piece of criticism among many, but that was definitely one constant theme that a lot of people didn't like, was the fact that with regards to that Brock Lesnar WWE Championship there, that, because that's, for a lot of people, that's the title. right? They don't care so much about the Universal title, but like that's the freaking title. Actually, let's back up a second. No, was it? Is it at the Universal? No. I had it right. God, see, now I'm so confused, right? We know that because I messed up renaming the Bray Wyatt title. I'm now calling the Bray Wyatt title the WWE Cool Ranch title, right? So that's what I'm calling it. And then you've got the other title, which is the WWE Championship. I don't mess around. That's what I get for butchering the hell out of the names and all that so often. So let's not even get technical as far as, the titles. Let's just say Brock Lesnar in the title he has right now, right? Says he's had that championship. Anytime he's had a championship, honestly, you just go, well, where's Brock on the card? Oh, damn, he's coming out first. Oh, damn, he's coming out, third match in, and all right, it's only going a couple of seconds. What the hell? So to be in a position like tonight with Survivor Series and Brock is pretty much the last match before your main event, that's like a major plus. And I actually like how that match was booked too, by the way. We'll talk about that in a hot second. But yeah, Bayley, Becky Lynch, and Shayna Baszler. For those of you curious if maybe Jasmine, Duke, Marina Shafir were running roughshod whatsoever, if there was some type of interference involved, there was no interference involved whatsoever. This was pretty much one-on-one on one, right? Nobody interfered in any type of way. And, these girls, I got to give them a lot of props, man. I got to give them mad props. They went in there and they just went all balls out. The match, the way it was executed, the blueprint that these girls executed, I got to give them mad freaking props because they went out there and they hit a home freaking run. As far as I was concerned, the one thing that I was really concerned about with this main event match was how exactly was Bayley going to be booked in this? Was Bayley going to be booked in a way where she looked very strong, right? Because these are your three premier champions, but you're really homing in on Bayley because it hasn't been that long since she has made this 180 with her character and everything. So for me, that's definitely one thing I was peeping out, which was how was she going to be looking performance-wise? And she actually did pretty damn good. Nice, feisty fighting spirit of a champion that she was in here. Had a lot of bright moments in here. I will definitely give her that. But if you would have told me she was going to be eating the pin or the submission here, in this case it was the submission, I would say to you, that kind of sucks. Like we just, there was no other way. We couldn't go in a different direction. Did Bayley really have to eat that? And apparently in the Booker's room there, the Booker's office, yeah. Match had about almost 20 minutes worth of time that went into it. Closing moments of the matchup. You saw Bayley sending Shayna inside the ring, but then gets caught up in the Kirifuda clutch. Bayley countered it into a pin, only got a near fall. She then tries to go for the elbow drop, but once again, she gets caught up in the Kirifuda clutch. Barely tapped out after that. At least she sold the hell out of it. I mean, she sold it in such a way where she just could not figure out a way to get out of it, and she just reluctantly tapped out. So, I mean, at least you could kind of say, well, not for nothing, but at least the first go round that clutch was applied. She was able to do what she could and everything. Come on, Becky Lynch always got the nice, strong performance and everything like that. But here's where things get a little interesting post-match. Just when we thought that the pay-per-view was going to end with Shayna Baszler standing strong and tall and everything, because she was celebrating. She was going up, hitting the ring post, going over to the announcer's table, standing on top of it, celebrating and everything. Just when we think, okay, all right, it's over and done with, right? Becky Lynch freaking hits Shayna Baszler, like a freaking poor damn sport or whatever, right? And by the way, shout out to the Chicago crowd. I gotta give the Chicago crowd mad love, man. I haven't been out there in Chicago, not since the CM Punk thing, but I've always considered Chicago my home, born and raised out there. And I tell you, when it comes to their sporting events, Chicago is one of the most passionate crowds that you will ever come across in the nation, man. And I love Chicago. Chicago represented strong tonight. They were bringing that energy. Couple of people that I know of was actually there in attendance. I know it was definitely for sure. Gotta show love to one of our Patreon members, John Krauser. John Krauser was actually there in attendance. Shout out to my boy Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Both of those guys were there. At least I know Mish was there for TakeOver. I think Mish, last I heard, was debating on Survivor Series, so I'm not really sure if he ended up doing tonight's Survivor Series. But I know Krauser was definitely there tonight because I saw some of his pictures and he was giving reactions on Twitter throughout the night of all the stuff that he was seeing playing out and everything. So who knows, depending on how his schedule is looking, maybe we can actually follow up with John and have him be on the show Monday night and kind of give us a little bit of a little mini recap on what was going on from, the bird's eye view there that he had, so to speak, because his seats were kind of but he was there, so maybe he can give us that fan perspective of what it was like to actually be there in person and everything, crowd reactions, what was their hottest moments, things like that. I'm sure he wouldn't mind stopping by the show, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But I'm pretty sure if we don't get him Monday, I'm kind of under the impression we should definitely be able to get him before the holiday and everything, right? But yeah, Chicago crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of fire tonight. Loved it. Bringing their CM Punk chants and all. You kind of knew it was going to go down, especially with the voice of the voiceless coming back into the fold, so to speak, and all. But yeah, man, Becky Lynch, bit of a sore loser post-match. She attacked homegirl Shayna Baszler and was just putting the hurt and putting the knots to the head, all of that. So, you're looking at that setup and you're going, okay, so we're supposed to be in this position now where, hey, after this draft went down, everybody is having their own distinct roster. This is it. Ain't going to be no more crossovers and all that. Yet, when you look at some of what we've been getting so far leading up to Survivor Series, and then you look at, who's going to make the card for these WWE upcoming live events and everything, you see that they're still doing cross-branding and everything. So, seeing what went down with Shayna getting beat down by Becky Lynch, you can't help but wonder, okay, well, not for nothing, but Monday night, right around the corner, one more time, are we gonna get an invasion of NXT, and are we gonna see Jasmine Duke, Marina Sharif, and Shayna Baszler try to come on out and extract some type of revenge or whatnot, right? So, one thing without a shadow of doubt, one of the biggest thing that jumps into my mind right now, as far as this weekend goes of women's wrestling, like women's wrestling just as a whole, not just WWE. I also got to give mad love to Wild Women of Wrestling. If you hadn't missed my recap of their 2-hour season finale, check that out after you get done with this. But this was a fantastic freaking weekend overall for women's wrestling, I would have to say. Would you guys agree? I mean, with the exception of the crap that's gone on in ROH, and that whole Kelly Klein situation, and it got so what the hell that Newsweek of all people picked up on that, and there's a really great article. We'll dive into that on Monday night, but I mean, just kind of putting that to the side and everything, when you just look at overall the weekend of women's wrestling, I mean, what WoW was able to do and then what WWE was able to do with their takeover and what they were able to do with tonight's Survivor Series, looking freaking strong on so many levels, man. Strong on so many levels. And without a shadow of doubt, whenever the decision is made of having Shayna Baszler come on up to the main roster, I mean, she's definitely going to be a great force to reckon with, without a shadow of doubt about that. Overall, good pay-per-view. Definitely will tell you that off the break. Let's talk about some more of these matches that came about. Let's kick it from the top here. I did actually see the pre-shows. And kudos to, who was it? Jonathan Coachman. We had David Otunga in there for a hot second. We had Charlie Caruso. We had Captain Charisma, Christian. He was in there. Did I mention Booker T? If I haven't mentioned Booker T yet, he was part of that whole pre-show panel as well. Did pretty good in there. Loved it. Your two pre-show matches that were in the first hour, I want to say, but don't quote me on that. But we had 3 pre-show matches total. Let's focus on that instead, right? Rather than the other logistics I just mentioned. Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, they actually had won the 10-man Interbrand Tag Team Battle Royal. Yeah, they went over Street Profits, and they also went over, looking at who did this team consist of, by the way? I'm looking at, because it was basically SmackDown taking on Raw. It was basically Raw taking on SmackDown, which was kind of weird when you stop and think about it, because you're going, well, wait a minute, shouldn't the NXT been part of that as well? I mean, you could kind of make that argument, but we're not really gonna focus on that right now. But yeah, Team SmackDown consisting of Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, they won that out. It was a 10-man Interbrand Tag Team Battle Royal. You know, you really couldn't sink your teeth into this matchup, sadly, because it was a very short match. And when I say a very short match, it was a very short match. I'm actually looking at who represented Raw here. The Raw representation was the OC, Street Profits, Hawkins and Ryder. SmackDown had the Revival, Robert Roode, Ziggler, and the Lucha House Party, and Heavy Machinery. There were NXT guys. I could have sworn I saw some NXT guys, because one of the cards that I'm looking at to give you guys the results, they didn't truly update it. Wikipedia, what's going on? You guys on Wikipedia, you guys are usually pretty good. Whenever I do these post shows, I can just pull up the Wikipedia and I can just go down the list. But the Survivor Series Wikipedia page for this weekend, and my fellow colleagues, let me know if it's like a first for you or if Wikipedia has fucked up a couple of times here. But this is the first time in my show history that when it counted the most for a pay-per-view, that the Wikipedia page has been so outdated. Really, really weird there. NXT was represented, though. NXT was represented by the Forgotten Sons, Breezango, and Imperium. Weird, right? Kind of weird how it played out there, but yeah, it was 8 minutes and some change. I mean, look, it was okay. You know, I can't really complain on it too much. It's a pre-show match. Like, honestly, if you didn't check it out, it wasn't anything that was earth-shattering. Wasn't the end of the world. You guys were actually okay. Now, one match that was pretty damn good was the triple threat, Interbrand triple threat match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Lio Rush defending successfully over Akira Tozawa from Monday Night Raw and Kalisto from SmackDown. That was actually a damn good match. I enjoyed that. Those boys went in there, and for that little bit of time that they had, they went in there and they made it entertaining. So I will definitely give that match on the pre-show a lot of props. And yeah, Lio Rush, I'm happy for him. I'm legitimately happy for Lio Rush, because I enjoyed him as a mouthpiece for Bobby Lashley. I sincerely did. He started off a little bit irritating and everything, but then as the weeks progressed, just kind of seemed like they were really starting to bounce off of each other and everything, play off of each other. And when I look at what's going on with this current Rusev arc, I just wish so badly that Lio Rush was somehow incorporated in this, because at least he could kind of make things just a little bit interesting, so to speak. But then you can kind of take a step back and be like, nah, Lee, all due respect, but seeing what's going on with Lio Rush's career right now, yeah, it's actually kind of good that he's nowhere near that shit right now, right? And I'm not going to put our listeners' names out there, because I don't want them feeling hurt or anything like that. But I had one listener that actually said, I actually like that story arc that's going on with Lana and Rusev, and he left a very lengthy message about why he liked it and everything. And for me, I'm like this. I like reading comments, I do, but if you want me to, read the comment and you want me to respond to it, heart it or whatever like that, you got to do me a solid and make sure that you're not leaving an essay, because it's like, and when I say essay, don't give me 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. It's like,
before you hit send, like take a pause and ask yourself, is that too much, right? And then you just kind of gotta slow down a little bit and just think about the bullet points that you want to bring up, because I like to try to do my best to respond to everybody that leaves a comment or whatever like that. But yeah, sometimes we'll get some people, but yeah, he actually had defended it. So it just goes to show you people that, what a majority of us think, it's pretty bad. There's actually some people that are looking at that story arc and think it's good and everything. But I know majority is like, nah, it's actually kind of good that Lio Rush is nowhere near that right now. Good for what's going on with him and his resurgence of a singles run down in NXT and everything. The match I do want to home in on, though, for this pre-show, and I got to give it up to them, man. The Champions Triple Tag Team match. I got to give it up to the Viking Raiders, New Day, and the Undisputed Era's Bobby Fish and Kylie O'Reilly. That was a fantastic pre-show matchup on so many levels. And that match, of all the matches for the pre-show, this got the most time. This felt like a pay-per-view quality feel type of a match, even though it was part of the pre-show. These guys went in and they put about at least 15 minutes and some change in there for this tag match. And if there's one match I could point out to you guys, like you need to go out of your way and you need to check it out, do whatever you can to go on WWE's YouTube channel or maybe hop on the network and watch the kickoff. Go out of your way. You owe it to yourselves. At least watch, and this was during the second hour, by the way, so that kind of helps you out a little bit more. The second hour, go out of your way, check out this Champions Triple Threat Tag Team match. You will thank me later. All of these guys, they freaking brought it. Viking Raiders coming out of that on top. Now it's getting to that point where, all right, Viking Raiders, like now everybody is kind of starting to come around to them and everything. And this was definitely a key milestone of a match as far as taking them to that next level, I personally felt, right? And you got to ride the momentum from this, what happened tonight and everything. And, I know some people are going to be looking at this match and they're going to be like, well, that's great that they had the opponents that they had faced and everything, and Chicago crowd. And look, that Chicago crowd, those guys were there for TakeOver. They know and they love who they are going to love. And the Raiders get a lot of love. Yeah, they did. They actually did get some love in Chicago. I would definitely admit to that. All of them did. But Raiders especially, right? Some people may look at that and say, yeah, but how's that going to go for, like, let's say Philly? How's that going to go for, let's say, Tennessee or California? And this go round, right? This go round, now that they're finally starting to pick up a little bit of steam, to that I say we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out and everything. But Viking Raiders coming out of there, really good, strong performance. Just when you thought that maybe this had smelled New Day, right? And there was nothing wrong. If you thought New Day was going to be coming out of this on top, nothing wrong with that. But nah, it was the Viking Raiders. Closing moments of this one, Kofi Kingston ended up missing the Trouble in Paradise, and it had cost him big time. As we had saw the Undisputed Era, they pretty much were left standing against the Raiders. And the crowd, they were very pro Undisputed, without a shadow of doubt. Undisputed Era, they managed to wear down the Raiders. But then Ivar, I think that's his name, Ivar, because we saw Undisputed Era, they started to wear down Ivar a little bit, going in with some nice strong kicks and everything. But Ivar had fought back, was doing cartwheels, doing his respected series of kicks and everything, even connected with a handspring back elbow. Viking experience connected, and boom, that pretty much had helped put Raw on the board and everything. Yeah, that definitely was the match. And at this point, and for those of you that were wondering how they were doing the pre-show this go round, like, remember the controversy last year and New Day had brought it to social media's attention, kind of picking up on what the fans were saying. They were like, wait a minute, shouldn't that count? And like, well, what's going on? And you had Cole in the game basically say, yeah, pre-show, it doesn't count. And New Day essentially kind of got that ball rolling because they were really quick to react to it on social media. I don't even think 30 minutes had went by after they had did the last match from last year's Survivor Series, and they were like, what the hell? And so it did count. So for those of you that were like, it's the pre-show, I'm okay. No, what happened during the pre-show actually did count. It tallied up and it carried over to the pay-per-view. So at this point, when everything had went down, basically you had SmackDown, NXT, Raw, all of them were basically tied 1 apiece. And that pretty much had wrapped up your 2-hour pre-show block. Going into the actual pay-per-view card, you had your 5-on-5-on-5 women's Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. This match had went almost 30 minutes long. Oh man, this was great. This was great. If you are a fan of Rhea Ripley, just the phenomenal weekend that she's had, and just piggyback like prior to that, just what's been happening with her these past several weeks, right? Locking it up with Charlotte, locking it up with Becky Lynch, and then what she did at TakeOver, and then what she was able to do going into tonight's Survivor Series. If you are a fan of Rhea Ripley, the future is definitely looking very bright for these girls, without a shadow of doubt. But in particular for Rhea Ripley, very proud of her performance. And at 23 years age, you can't help look at her and be like, damn, if she's able to do all of this right now at 23, just imagine where she's going to be like by the time she's 28, 29, right? I mean, and I gave her mad props earlier in the week as far as how she was able to hang with Becky. I didn't do SmackDown, unfortunately. I can't remember what happened on Friday night. I know I got sidetracked with some other stuff. No, I focused more on painting with Lee. That's what it was. I focused more on that and was just resting up, honestly. And yeah, like Rhea Ripley, man, fucking awesome. I don't like essentially the beginning of this match, and I want to just lay that out perfectly, right? I don't like the fact that, okay, for Team NXT, you got Rhea Ripley, you got Bianca Belair, you got Candice LeRae, you got Io Shirai, you got Toni Storm. Okay, NXT, okay, all right, that sounds great. Team Raw, you got Charlotte, you got Natty, you got Asuka, you got Kairi Sane, and you got Sarah Logan. You're like, well, wait a minute there. Sarah Logan, what the hell? Team SmackDown, you got Sasha Banks, you got Carmella, you got Dana Brooke, you got Lacey Evans, you got Nikki Cross, right? All right, so just by process of elimination here, right? Now, all due respect to Candice LeRae, you could even kind of like throw a little bit of shade at her, but at least you can follow her roots prior to the WWE and everything, and you can be like, and Austin, it doesn't matter for me as far as who got pinned as far as Rhea Ripley goes. I don't care. Like I said, she faced Becky won, and then Charlotte, I don't want to keep going back to Friday. I want to focus on the here and now, because sadly, it's like if it wasn't talked about by me on Friday, it's like it don't matter. The win and losses like prior to tonight, like, and I'm not saying that just to be a dick or anything like that, because I'm not being a dick, Austin. You know me by now. But now it's like it don't matter. The point is Rhea Ripley, just to kind of touch back one more time. And by the way, if it sounds like I'm responding to a comment late, I'm doing my best to look at the comments as they're coming in real time, but sadly, at the time that you guys are watching, you guys are seeing, and it's not adjustable at all. I've tried looking in YouTube for you guys that's checking out the webcast version. Audio, guys, you guys are good. Those of you that's going to be checking out the audio version and everything, you guys are good. But for the webcast version, I don't know what it is, but there is like at least a 90-second delay. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm trying to respond as quick as I can as soon as I see it, but let's bring it back home and talk a little bit more. At least you could say that with regards to Candice LeRae, just kind of touching up upon that, at least you can say Candice LeRae is, well, hey, she's got a really damn good wrestling background, record and everything like that. When you see some of the opponents that she faced and everything prior to coming into the WWE and everything, and you're like, okay, so you put her with the right opponent, she's definitely going to be able to give you some memorable moments and everything. What's my point as far as going on about this? My point is, if you were to tell me that Io Shirai Tony Storm, right? Like your veteran girls, right? If you were to tell me that girls like Dana Brooke, girls like frickin' Carmella, girls like Sarah Logan, if you were to tell me that they're going to get so much time in this match, that some of the people you're looking at and you're just kind of going, well, through process of elimination, like, let's go ahead and let's get this person out of here off the break and all. That's not how it played out. And some of the booking in this one was really, really questionable. You know, these girls, they should not have lasted. The girls that I just mentioned, Carmella, Dana Brooke, and Sarah Logan, these girls should not have lasted as long as they did. It was a head-scratching moment for me. As far as I am concerned, look, I know they've got their respected fans, right? Sorry, fans, but I'm not in this to be kissing people's asses. I'm not in this to be scoring brownie points and all of that. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, whenever I have something constructive to say about a wrestling product, a wrestler's performance in the ring, how they are on the microphone, it's never personal. It's never personal, because at the end of the day, majority of these people, I don't know. That's the end of the day, right? I don't know these people. So I am approaching this not from a place of hate in any type of way. It's just 2 cents from a distance, just going off of overall the body of work that I've seen up to this point. And I'm sorry, but you got this WWE Performance Center that has just a big old platter of talent that's just waiting for the opportunities to get the call up. Whether it's on NXT or whether it's on one of the other shows and everything, they are just waiting, chomping at the bits for the opportunities, right? And we've given Dana Brooke so many opportunities. We've given Sarah Logan so many opportunities. At this point, I would just be okay with Sarah Logan being paired up with the Viking Raiders. Why that hasn't happened yet continues to leave me scratching my head, so to speak. But, you know, I will even throw Carmella in there. But we all know the reason why Carmella, right? We already know that, right? That's all at the end of the day. You can make the argument, right? You can make the argument that, hey, man, all about pleasing a certain color commentator, right? And shout out to Mauro Ranallo, because honestly, you know, just kind of getting sidetracked a little bit. I've only seen little tidbits of NXT TakeOver, but I don't know the results yet. Because I was busy Saturday night taking care of some personal stuff, so I actually did not get a chance to watch it. Like pretty much after the WoW season finale, I was preoccupied the rest of the night taking care of some personal stuff. So I see that a couple of people were saying that Mauro was basically overpowering Beth Phoenix and Nigel McGuinness on color commentating. Corey Graves threw a bit of shade at Mauro without mentioning his name, mind you. And apparently this got back to Mauro. I know Mauro loves his social media. And what did Mauro do? Apparently Mauro deleted his account. I guess now it's brought back up. There's just no tweets. You can't read anything. And Mauro had already tweeted earlier in the week that he was not okay. He was having a little bit of a rough week and was asking for people's thoughts and best wishes and everything, prayers and all that. And so he's already feeling a little bit unstable, and then, or unhinged. Let's go a little bit unhinged, right? One of those weeks. And then Corey Graves, you know, adding a little bit of fuel to the fire and everything. Look, I gotta watch TakeOver, and I will definitely be doing that TakeOver review for our Patreon members, because we already talked about this the other night, so I don't want to rehash that again. But you could go back and, you know, you could listen to why we're doing it for our Patreon members. But yeah, it's going to be for Patreons only. But I will add my 2 cents on Mauro's performance, if he was overpowering or not. I'll honestly give you my takeaway on that on Monday's show. But let me say this. You know, the situation with Mauro, because it does tie into tonight, because they did bring up his status at Survivor Series. So that's why I'm talking about this for a couple of minutes. That's a very delicate situation. It really, really is. Now, I would like to believe in my heart of hearts that Corey Graves meant no harm. There's truly that part of me in my heart, in my soul, that believes Corey Graves meant no disrespect, not to the point of having Morrow go deeper down that dark rabbit hole, right? I think what Corey Graves was just honestly trying to say in a nice, constructive criticism type of way, which was, hey, you've got two other people that have proven that if you give them the opportunity, you give them a little bit of rope to play with, they got you. You don't always have to feel as though this is all about you. It's on your shoulders. Those other two guys are there for you. Whether you need to have a sip of water or some soda, or hey, your alarm went off on your phone, it's time for you to take your medicine and you got to be quiet for a little bit to do whatever you need to do. You got two well-equipped, qualified people sitting to your left, to your right, that can help carry the load. If you have a frog in your voice, whatever it is, you can just give them a little nudge, do a little head joint, and they got you until you can jump back in there. Okay, lean back a little bit, and you know, it kind of sucks that people are crapping on Corey Graves and everything like that, and you know, but how was Corey supposed to know? How was Corey supposed to know that Morrow was going to take it to the point that he took it to, right? That's assuming that Morrow had even took his Twitter and all that down because he found out what Corey had said. I know Morrow's best friend, Frank Shamrock, you know, he had a little bit of a meme with some comments to say, basically taking a shot at Corey Graves and everything. But I don't think there was any malice in Corey Graves' heart whatsoever. Corey was just, honestly, just 2 cents from a distance, and I could be wrong, and that's fine. But my gut instinct, it just feels like Corey was just honestly trying to say, dude, you don't have to just let it be a one-man show. You got two other qualifying people right there that can help you out. They've proven they can hang with you, so give them a little bit. And you know, not for nothing, but I've seen enough takeover events so far and watched enough NXT shows where this current trio of Nigel McGuinness, Beth Phoenix, and Morrow, I've seen enough where I go, yeah, you know, they're good. Right down to the point, I remember endorsing Beth Phoenix and saying that Beth Phoenix, with regards to Beth Phoenix, she is going to be a great successor, whether that's for Renee Young or that is for, you know, whoever. You know, take out whoever you want to take out. If you're looking at the Raw side of things, go ahead, do whatever. You're looking at SmackDown, you're looking to replace somebody, you could definitely go over there as well. But I got to watch TakeOver. I'm going to at least do that. And when we come back Monday night, I'm going to definitely let you know what I have thought about that. But yeah, that's a very interesting situation. And that's assuming, and that's the one thing that I really want to drive home. We have people that are assuming that that is why Morrow pulled his Twitter, right? You know, show me a tweet where Morrow responded to Corey Graves, and I will say, okay, you know, there it is in black and white. But you kind of have to have that little bit of doubt out there before jumping to a conclusion. Remember the type of society, and I talk about this all the time on the shows, people, as we get ready to talk about the pay-per-view some more. Remember what I always say, which is our society is very reactionary. We react on impulse, right down to the point. Something as simple as somebody just trying to offer constructive criticism and advice we look at as a person that's being mean-spirited, right? They're being a dick and all this other. We rely on impulse. We are so reactionary. We really got to do a better job as a society, especially here in North America, of just taking a step back and saying, well, wait a minute, let's see everything here and let's kind of go from there, right? So Rhea Ripley there, yeah, I mean, she had a damn good performance there. The little spots there that involved Dana and Carmella and also Sarah Logan, I didn't care about them. They had got way too much time as it was, as far as I was concerned. But the girls that really shine the most in this for me, Rhea Ripley, hey, Bianca Belair, not for nothing. Bianca had her moment in the sun. Io Shirai had her moment as well. Toni Storm having a great moment as well. Natty, not so much. You know, normally you look at a girl like Natty, who is your in-ring veteran, and Natty was not really much of a factor in this one right here. And I love how everything had came about as far as the eliminations go and everything. Now, sadly, I switched it up this year. I didn't go with the whole, and this person eliminated that person, and this person eliminated. I didn't go with that this year. But as far as who was the top dog that came out of this, it was Team NXT. Now, the one thing that we can home in on, there was a spot that went down earlier in this matchup where we actually saw from Team NXT, we saw Io Shirai, and I want to say it was Tony's, or was it Candice? I know Io Shirai was definitely one of them. I'm almost tempted to say it was Candice LeRae that got help towards the back by medical. And if anybody want to correct me on that, you can definitely correct me. I am reading what you guys are saying in the chat. If I got that wrong, let me know. We're thinking, okay, so, you know, that's pretty much it for them. But I beg to differ. I looked at that spot. I said, nah, NXT has the handicap right now. But that's fine. Those girls are going to come back. We're going to forget about them, but they're going to come back. This isn't the end. And sure enough, those two girls actually did come back towards the end. It ended up being towards the end there. And by the way, when Rhea was throwing it down with Sasha and Charlotte, oh man, I ate that up. I love that. Love that tremendously. Let's pick it up. Closing moments of this one. We actually let's pick it up right around Natty and Tony. Natty and Tony were going at it. Natty had rolled up Toni Storm, get her out of the way there. Suddenly it's looking like, as far as the team breakdown goes, it's basically 3-1-1. You see a sharpshooter bank statement combo that eliminated Toni Storm, because we saw Natty and Sasha Banks. They decided, you know what, bump the brands. Let's just team up. Let's clean house. So that's exactly what we saw get done for a hot second. Natty and Sasha would follow that up as they attacked Bianca Belair. Then looks like she gets eliminated. So now it's looking like it's going to be Rhea Ripley taking on Natty, taking on Sasha, but then Sasha quickly turns on freaking Natty. That was beautiful how that went down. Turns on her, you know, gets the pin on her and everything. Now it's down to Rhea and Sasha. That was a nice little spot that was going down there. Rhea overpowering, a couple of moves there. Hits a drop kick and everything. It looked pretty good. Nice little good sequence that was going on. Sasha Banks at one point, she gets the bank statement applied and everything. But then Candice LeRae and Io, they come back, sensing how close they are to getting the win and everything. So they hurry on back and everything. Sasha kind of sees what's going on, and she takes the fight to them a little bit there. And going into the closing moments of that one, Sasha had hit the ropes, had took out those girls with a baseball slide. Rhea tackles Banks into the guardrail, brings the action back in there. We see Sasha counter the Riptide, connect to the knee. Io gets up on the apron. She gets hit by freaking Sasha. Candice comes in. She's distracting the ref while all of this is going down. Gives Rhea Ripley the opportunity to connect with the Riptide. And 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley's team NXT, picks up the win. Like I said, that match was like about almost 30 minutes. Damn good opener there. So at this point, NXT has a 2-1-1 lead over SmackDown and Raw. Next up, we had AJ Styles taking on Roderick Strong, taking on Nakamura. Yeah, man. You know what? I gotta give Nakamura a lot of props. Nakamura went into this bad boy, and Nakamura, it's rare that we see Nakamura. Okay, you know what? I actually feel like working tonight. Most times we get a Nakamura match, Nakamura just feels like, I'm gonna just phone this in. I'm just gonna do the little basic, do my little kick, and hit my little pose, Kinshasa. All right, match over, right? Like, he just phones it in nowadays, right? But on rare occasions, we get to see Nakamura, like tonight. Actually, I feel like working tonight. Let's really freaking entertain. You just really felt like when you take a step back and you look at the way Nakamura went in there and he performed, you just really felt as though Nakamura was in this going, this is refreshing. I don't always get to face these guys, so this is actually refreshing. This is nice. All right, let me up my game a little bit. It kind of felt like that. And I tell you what, that's the one thing. If you've taken the time out and you've read Nakamura's book, it's a great read. I definitely recommend you read that. He comes off as a person that likes feeling challenged and everything, right? And, that for me, watching what he did tonight, he really took his game to another level. It was basically, by the time I'm done watching Nakamura, I couldn't help but say, damn, Nakamura, if you can bring this with you to SmackDown each week, and you can bring this to other pay-per-views, like, I would be okay. I would totally be okay. By the way, that new IC title, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that new IC title. I'm feeling it. I know people are going with the whole, I'll never forget when the title was revealed. I don't know who it was. I unfollowed the hell out of them on Twitter though, because it was like, oh, you are a mark. Like, seriously. I usually don't be calling people smarks and marks. I usually don't. I always say, hey, we're wrestling fans. But for me, my definition of a mark, I don't go with the wrestling term. For me, my definition of a mark is, okay, take, for instance, what went down. So the new title is unveiled, right? And there was some follower of mine, he actually at Cody Rhodes and said some shit like, oh, Cody, did you see what they did to your IC title? Man, that old school IC title that you had brought back and everything, trying to bring back the prestige and trying to bring back the throwback and everything. Did you see what they did? Man, they got rid of your old school IC title design, man. They introduced some new crappy little blah, blah, blah. What you gonna do, Cody? And I'm like, okay, you're a mark. You're a mark, right? So for me, my definition of a mark is like you're running and you tell that. You run tell that. I can't stand people that go run tell that, right? It's like, what are you hoping to do? Are you hoping to score some type of brownie points? Are you hoping to get a like? Are you hoping to get a follow or a favorite? Like, what do you hope to gain from that? Like, for me, I just thought that was just the most, really, like, so let me see if I got this straight. So WWE Powers decided they were going to change that title because it is connected somehow to Cody Rhodes. I seriously doubt that was on anybody's fucking mind. I wouldn't be surprised if, honestly, hey man, don't you think it's about that time we kind of do a little something with these titles a little bit? Don't you think it's a little bit time we give some of these titles a little bit of a facelift? What do you think? I wouldn't be surprised if that was honestly what was said. I doubt that anybody was going, that goddamn Cody Rhodes. This is how we're going to get revenge against Cody Rhodes. We're going to change the title. Like, seriously. So Yeah, I had to unfollow that guy after that because I'm like, man, if you're marking out like that, like, Lord, my God, like nobody is safe around your ass. But now Nakamura really brought it in tonight. I was quite pleased with his performance. Equally pleased with Roderick Strong as well. AJ Styles, for me, this was almost kind of like watching. God, yeah, that would be a great match, wouldn't it? This was almost kind of like watching. God, if I were to describe it, let's replace all three of these guys for a second. This would almost be like putting in Shawn Michaels, Tanahashi, and Bret Hart. It was almost kind of like that kind of match that we were watching to a certain degree, right? And I loved it. I loved every single minute of this matchup. These guys, they went at it for like almost about 20 minutes. And let me see here. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm seeing a question that's being asked privately here. So I'm going to try to see if I can. There we go. All right, so I'm good now. And yeah, pick it on up here. So closing moments of this matchup. We saw AJ Styles. He managed to avoid a knee and turns Roderick Strong inside out with a clothesline. Nakamura then suplexes Strong onto Styles, hits with the Kinshasa. He covers, but then AJ managed to break the pin. Strong is still out. Styles, Nakamura, they're going at it. They nearly knock the hell out of each other with their series of kicks on each other. Nakamura comes in with a flying knee and a cradle shock for a 2. Nakamura managed to boot his way out of a Styles clash. Closing moments, AJ sends him back, connects with the phenomenal forearm. Strong sneaks in there, sending AJ outside the ring and then going in for the scraps on Nakamura to basically steal it. So your winner of that one, Roderick Strong. Again, 20-minute matchup. This was pretty good. At this point, NXT has a 3-1-1 lead over Raw and SmackDown. So Steven is asking in the chat, when is WWE going to make a Women Intercontinental Championship? Steven, appreciate you when you check out the shows. I'm not tackling that question, buddy. I will gladly tackle that question on Monday night. I want to just have it stay on Survivor Series talk. So you guys, if you kind of don't want to talk about Survivor Series and you maybe want to leave some questions for our comments on tonight's Survivor Series, you can do that. But any questions like that, that's not Survivor Series pay-per-view related, I'm just going to forward it to the Monday show. That's my way of acknowledging, letting you know I am seeing what you guys are saying in the chat, though. Let's keep going because we got a lot more matches to talk about, and I want to be in and out because I want to be done with this as quick as possible because I do plan on checking out the Steve Austin Undertaker interview, and I'm actually going to be coming right back to review that. So let's keep going here. God, we already have about an hour in. Am I looking at this right? We've been on for almost about an hour. Yeah, it's almost been close to an hour. Let's blaze through the rest of this here. So we told you about the Champions Triple Threat match, okay? Adam Cole taking on Pete Dunne. Fucking fantastic. About 15 minutes here of a match. Loved it. Adam Cole defeating Pete Dunne. If you were looking for your most technical match of the evening, this was definitely the match for you. My hat's off to both of these guys. Just going down the list too of all the matches, grand total, even when you add in the pre-shows, we had got 10 matches total. This match jumps out to me the most. If there's one of a couple of matches I would say, yo, go out of your way, check it out when you get a free moment, I would definitely say Adam Cole, Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship. Look that up. Great technical matchup. Both men really going balls to the walls in this one. Lot of respect for these guys. I love this match so much. I almost want to have it as for me, at least a nod for a match of the year candidate. For me, I kind of have to put it on the list. That's how much I had enjoyed it with these two guys going at it here. Great back and forth here. I like the closing moments of the matchup, and I didn't even see the move in which it occurred. But you had a spot where somehow Pete Dunne loses his mouthguard piece. And I thought something was kind of odd with him because I'm looking at him and I'm going, why does he look different? What's going on here? And I'm seeing him cheese and everything, and I'm saying to my girl, I'm saying, something looks off about Pete Dunne. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, something looks off. I can't quite put my finger on it. And then finally, I hear the commentators, they mention, Pete Dunne, he's trying to go for his mouth guard. He's trying to put it back in his mouth. And then you see Adam Cole, he puts his boot over Pete Dunne's hand that's over the mouthguard piece, and I go, that's it, he's missing his mouthguard, because you're looking all in his mouth now, and you're like, that's what he looks so drastically different without the damn mouthguard piece. Like, I swear to God, if I was walking down the street and he didn't have that usual mean mug type of look, and he's, cheesing and everything, and he's got the mouthguard, and he was just walking down the street and just without it, I wouldn't recognize him, especially if he was wearing drastically different street clothes, no in-ring gear, right? Oh yeah, he would just, and that's not an insult, that's just speaking the truth. He would just be like a average Joe just walking down the street. So yeah, it's amazing what a mouth guard can do for some people and everything. But yeah, Cole, that is, he had put a hurting. Man, they both put a hurting on each other too. And the spot, I can't talk about this match without mentioning that one spot where outside of the apron where the Panama sun was done. Oh my God, that shit was fucking ridiculous. I lost it when I saw that spot. I looked at that, the Panama sunrise on the side apron. I looked at that and I said, holy shit. So did the Chicago crowd as well. They were chanting holy shit as well when all that had went down. Closing moments of that one, we saw Pete Dunne. He had did some type of a counter on Adam Cole, and it looked as though he was going for a scoop slam, but it looked like he was also going for one of his signature trademark moves. But then Cole managed to counter that, and then he followed up with the last shot to the back of the neck of Pete Dunne. 1, 2, 3. That pretty much was it. Pete Dunne coming out, retaining that NXT Championship. Adam Cole, baby, is still your NXT champion. Good matchup. All right, we got another one here. This one was some quick change. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defending his, it's no longer the Universal Championship, people. In case you missed it, I've dubbed it a new name from here on out until the design is changed. I don't care who's holding it. So you guys out there, because I know some of you wrestlers like to make you around seeing what other podcasts are saying and everything. Don't take it personal. I don't care who has this championship from here on out until the design changes. It could be a major overhaul or the color changes. Until that color changes, that is forever known as the Doritos Cool Ranch title. All right, that was being defended. 10-minute matchup. For me, can we be real for a second here? I want to be real, but I want to tell a joke as well, which is the red light district. It's got to go. I'm looking at this and I've got Sting and the Police on my fucking head, man. Like, Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. And like off the break, I'm just writing down lyrics to my own version of this. And I'm going, McMahon, you don't have to turn on the red light. Let us see the Fiend and his matches. You don't have to make us watch so hard in the night. That's the first verse. And the second verse, I've got, McMahon, I know what you're doing, but it comes off like a red light district with lots of stop lights. I gotta finish the rest of it, but yeah, like the red light, it needs to go. Like seriously, I'm getting a little sick and tired of that. I am. I appreciate the coolness of it. I appreciate the dark, mysterious I appreciate all of that. I do. But, like, I can only imagine what the freaking fans are able to see in this when they are live in person. Like, and that's like, if I can get John Krauser on here, that's going to be like the first question I'm going to ask him, which is, dude, so tell us, like, with regards to that Wyatt freaking Daniel Bryan match, like, how much were you able to see? Like, could you see anything at all in this matchup? Like, what the hell? And hey, breaking news, man, everybody did bad for Survivor Series. I'm looking at the pick'ems because usually there's a round. And shout out to Seth. Seth always does a phenomenal job tallying up what everybody is going with as far as their pay-per-view picks. And I'm looking all across the board. And my God, somehow, somebody got 6 out of 8. Not including the pre-shows, because we didn't know what was happening with the pre-show matches. But yeah, somebody got 6 out of the 8. The norm that I'm seeing, including myself thrown into the mix, I'm seeing a lot of 3s. I'm seeing a lot of 3s, 4 here and there. So, shout out to, who is that? Rob Bass? Shout out to Rob Bass. Alt's mine. Shout out to Rob. He got that one. Yeah. That's good, though, when you can go into a pay-per-view, right? And, you know, last thing you want to do is be like, hey, I got every single match right. It's nice when we get a little bit of, oh, okay. All right. I like it when we get nights like what we got tonight. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Next matchup, let's go. What were we talking about here? Yeah, the Cool Ranch Doritos title. I mean, you really couldn't home in on this. I mean, it was about 10 minutes and some change at most. The red light district, like I said, it's got to go. I'm not feeling it. It's very distracting. It really takes away from really visually being able to appreciate a match that's happening before our eyes. And I just find it to be such a great disservice to a guy like Daniel Bryan, who is without a shadow of doubt. And if you haven't read his Yes book yet, you owe it to yourself to read that. It was such a phenomenal book. I read it twice. A lot of respect for Daniel Bryan. But like, one of the best gifted technical wrestlers that's here on the face of this earth. And we got to go with the theatrics, the light shows, and all this shit against a guy like Bray Wyatt. I just wasn't feeling that. I didn't like it on so many levels. If you wanted to maybe dim the light a little bit, but don't have there be a red light, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Nice flurry of offense coming from Daniel Bryan early on in this and everything, but, you know, almost kind of similar to the match that went down with Seth Rollins. Like, no matter what Daniel Bryan was able to throw at the Fiend just kept coming and coming and coming. Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder if maybe The Miz was going to play some type of a factor in this, kind of following up on what had happened with SmackDown and everything, as the two of them had butted heads once again. And then you go to the pre-show, I think it was either the pre-show or sometime leading up. No, it was actually during the actual pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan was getting ready. Just looked like he was meditating, trying to get himself pumped up and everything. And Miz basically was giving him a pep talk saying, hey, look, on behalf of myself, you know, my kids, your kids, our wives, for everybody, take Bray Wyatt out. Take this dude out already. And the Miz looking on at him and everything kind of looked like he was maybe anticipating I will, don't worry about it or something like that, or thanks, don't worry. And Daniel Bryan just tells him to shut up or whatever. So, all right, so that animosity there, still there. Okay, all right. So I was actually expecting Miz to run some type of interference in this, possibly, right? Maybe get so hot-headed, right? I was kind of expecting that, and end result, Miz is what costs Daniel Bryan the opportunity in becoming the Cool Ranch Doritos champion, but it didn't pan out that way. Daniel Bryan gets taken out with the mandible claw when it was all said and done, despite the great flurry of offense that he was doing and everything. You know, he got taken out by the mandible claw. He eventually passed out, and referee had no choice but to call for the bell and everything, and that pretty much was it. So, you know, look, if you're a Bray Wyatt fan, I mean, this is great. You know, I know some people are kind of looking at this that are the hardcore Daniel Bryan fans, and they're like, man, everything that this guy is capable of, he deserves a bit better than this. You know, if you were to ask me straight up with regards to this match that Wyatt had with Daniel Bryan tonight, it wasn't one of those career defining moments that takes this current incarnation of Wyatt to that next level, right? You know, you still gotta like, well, damn, what kind of match would maybe The Undertaker, straight up, The Undertaker, and he's looking pretty damn good and everything, moving around nice and healthy, The Undertaker, that's gonna be his career defining moment. The question is, when are we going to see something like that go down? I'm hoping, honestly, we could see The Fiend take on Undertaker as early as the Royal Rumble. I would love, why not? I would love to see it go down. So, and not for nothing, but come on, Wyatt, Undertaker, it's got a nice ring to it, especially with this new incarnation of Wyatt. Oh my God, just the promos, the pre-produced segments and all that, man, us fans would just eat that up big time. We eat it up big time. But yeah, that match was just too short for me, man. I wish it could have went a little bit longer. Let's go to our next matchup here. We've got the men's elimination match, which had saw Team Raw taking on Team NXT, taking on Team SmackDown. Now, at this point, those teams, it had consisted of, for Team SmackDown, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, Mustafa Ali, Shorty G. Taking on Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. Taking on Team NXT, Tommaso Ciampa, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter. This match got about 30 minutes of time there. Great match. This was actually pretty damn good. I enjoyed this one as well. For the problems, minor problems at that I had with the women's 5-on-5-on-5 match. My only issue with the 5-on-5-on-5 men's Survivor Series match was that we saw Walter get eliminated. And he got eliminated pretty damn early. He got eliminated by freaking Drew McIntyre. And the Chicago crowd freaking erupted when they saw that go down. And I couldn't help but when I saw it go down in real time, I actually yelled, "What the hell?" at the TV. And I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of both ends of my mouth, because I got to be real. I was on this show, I don't know if it was earlier this week or last week, and I addressed the concerns that people had about Drew McIntyre. People kept saying, "Oh, what's going on with Drew? Man, he's been at the receiving end of some losses, man. What the hell is going on with Drew? What's up with Drew? Drew's getting buried." It actually got to that point. The man hadn't even been back for like a damn month, and people were going, "Oh, Drew McIntyre is already getting buried." And I'm like, first of all, look up the definition of that word and know how you're freaking like using it, right? Because obviously you don't know, and that's not a diss. That's just God's honest truth. I think we all as wrestling fans can be in agreement. They can really take a step back and truly be neutral and say, yeah, you know what, that terminology is thrown around a bit too much, too excessively, to a point that it actually doesn't even warrant what you're currently seeing with some of your favorite talents or whatever. And I remember saying that with regards to Drew McIntyre, I said, folks, like, the man just came back not that long ago. Have a little bit of patience. Like, don't worry. Look, Royal Rumble is right around the corner. I think those were my words. I said, Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Have no fear. You know, everything's going to be nice and well-rounded, well-rebounded when it comes to Drew McIntyre. You guys just wait and see. I don't like the fact that you had Walter in this, you know, nice showing against Braun Strowman there. Collided briefly, I think, if I remember it right, collided briefly there with Roman Reigns there. It was nice seeing him in there. And I'm like, yes, I love this. This is great. You know, he had his moment in the sun here. But to see him just all of a sudden get taken out by Drew McIntyre, yeah, that for me was just serious buzzkill. Because for me, it was, okay, so wait a minute here. We give Walter a little bit of a rub off, right? And what was surely supposed to be a moment where, hey, for the NXT UK subdivision, hey, you guys got a lot to be proud of because, you know, look at how your boy Walter had did and everything. You know, other than what he had did briefly and what we saw, for him to get eliminated so fast just in order to get about 5 minutes worth of heat for Drew McIntyre, it just wasn't worth it. I personally felt it just wasn't worth it. You know, and I think even this is going to be a case where you can go back and you can maybe look at this match the next day. And I think a lot of people will definitely still have those same sentiments. I don't think Walter should have been eliminated so fast. Walter should have lasted a little bit longer. I think if anything, maybe have a spot go down where he's taken out for a bit. He's outside of the ring and he's out of the equation for a bit, and you bring him back on later on or whatnot. But yeah, that one just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Other than that, though, I was actually okay with everything else. When I saw Shorty G going technical there with Matt Riddle, one of the first things that jumped out in my mind was, wow, so Matt Riddle and Shorty G, you know, we're calling Shorty G, Chad Gable, Shorty G, you know, well, there's not that much of a height difference, so to speak, between Matt Riddle and Shorty G. You know, Shorty G is not as short as we think he is, right? Go back and look at it. Like, when you see these two lock it up, you know, they're going head to head, you know, eye to eye and everything. It's like Shorty G is not that short, right? So, but I love when they locked it up. That was actually a nice little cool moment to see right there. I enjoyed that. Pick it up. Let's pick it up towards the final moments of this one. So I know it was Team SmackDown that was representing in the end. It came down to Roman Reigns and one of my instant favorites since coming into the WWE, Keith Lee. I love Keith Lee, man. This dude is fucking badass. I mean, he is like the Willie Mack for NXT right now, but like, I won't say better than Willie Mack, but he's definitely the Willie Mack of WWE, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure he would probably take that as a big compliment and everything, but he may say, I'm better than him. What are you talking about, brother? You know, he might even say that, but I felt Keith Lee really has shined big time in this moment here, and I gotta give him mad freaking props. I gotta give the WWE bookers mad props, and the way they had set this up and everything, he had some really great moments here. The biggest moment of them all was when he had took out Seth Rollins. I mean, Chicago shit out a big old turd on Seth Rollins. They did not like Seth Rollins. They tolerated him when it came to the spot there where Tommaso Ciampa was getting ready to have the trademark Shield powerbomb through the announcer's table. Brief period there where Roman and Seth kind of put their differences to the side and they were trying to join forces and everything. But like, really, other than that, they really couldn't care less about Seth Rollins. It was definitely obvious. They did not care for seeing Seth Rollins and maybe Roman Reigns, or they wanted Seth Rollins out of there, like right down to the point. I remember you had a case where Seth Rollins was facing Tommaso Ciampa, and the crowd was just foaming at the bits of that matchup, but wanting to see Tommaso go over Rollins and everything. And I mean, that just speaks so much volume as far as I'm concerned. But no, Keith Lee was actually the one that was able to pin Seth Rollins to set up NXT taking on SmackDown at the end, you know, mano a mano and everything. And the crowd erupting big time when Keith Lee took out Rollins and everything. I ate that up. I love that. But the overall performance of Keith Lee tonight, it just really solidifies for me in my mind that Keith Lee is going to be another guy. He's going to be a force to reckon with on that main roster whenever he gets the call up as well. And, look, not for nothing, but Keith Lee, here's the thing. Some people may be like, well, when do you think he should come on up to the main roster and everything? I'm not going to say as soon as possible, but what I will say is he just turned 35. So there is a small window of opportunity here, right? So if you're going to do something with Keith Lee in the main roster, two-parter here. One, remember he's part of a package, because you also got to think about Mia Yim, right? And then the second part of that that you got to think of is just the age. So, like, honestly, the sooner you bring him up and everything, the better. But this is a man that, if you're asking me right now, does he need to touch the NXT World Heavyweight Championship? Does he need to at least be a one-time NXT World Champion before he goes to the main roster? No. That guy, everything that's going on with him right now, put him on the main roster. I mean, look, the way he is rolling right now, I just don't see why. And if he can stay healthy, which really shouldn't be a problem for him, because I really, over the years, he's one I've kind of kept tabs on a little bit over the years, and really haven't heard that much about him being injured and all that. He's one that stands out to me. If he could just continue to stay healthy and everything, yeah, he can definitely be a world heavyweight champion. I don't see why not. And just thinking about the great feuds that he could have on the main roster as well. I'm eyeballing Samoa Joe off the break. I'm eyeballing a heel AJ Styles. I'm eyeballing Kevin Owens. I could even see him doing a little something with Brock Lesnar. Man, there's so many great opportunities there for him. We'd be here all night just going over the different combinations that you could do with Keith Lee. But the point is, with a guy that talented, that charismatic and everything, and so agile in the ring, you'd be a fool not to try to capitalize on that and try to somehow tap into that for your main roster and everything. Roman Reigns coming out there. And look, that's the other thing that I like about Roman Reigns. I want to make sure I give Roman Reigns a lot of props with this as well, because Roman Reigns made sure he made Keith Lee look like $1 million freaking dollars. I mean, from the couple of Superman punches and everything, and then following it up with the spear and everything, right? And you're like, okay, so surely this is it, right? Surely this nah, they made Keith Lee look pretty strong and everything, but, they made sure storyline-wise that Roman Reigns worked for this W, right? But at the same time, having Lee really go over as hey, this is somebody you definitely want to be watching. And then post-match was really freaking cool. You got Roman Reigns standing in there looking at freaking Keith Lee, gives him a dab and everything. And you're like, great moment right there. This is great. Keith Lee, awesome. That was an awesome moment for him. We got one more match to talk about, and then we're going to get into some Patreon shout-outs, get into some sponsor shout-outs. Definitely want to give a nod to the WWE Championship match, the no disqualifications match, Brock Lesnar defending against Rey Mysterio. This was a short match. This match was about, if you were lucky, maybe 7 minutes. Just maybe 7 minutes. But you know what? It was good. I like how Rey Mysterio went into this, and I'm curious what was going on with his attire for tonight, because his attire came off Joker inspired / Doink the Clown inspired meets Lucha Circus. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of things that was going on in it, right? A whole lot of different interpretations with that costume choice for tonight. But Rey Mysterio went into this, and off the break, he was trying to put the hurting on Brock Lesnar. He was looking for foreign objects, and Brock Lesnar was trying to do his best to deny Ray the opportunity to try to use a foreign object on him. I love the story that they were telling with this one, and it was the right type of story that you needed to tell. I mean, like, as soon as this match begins, Rey Mysterio is immediately going for that trademark trusty pipe that he's been using on Lesnar. And you got Brock, he's heading to the outside, right? Rey tries to slide on back in there and everything. And, Brock gets the upper hand for a little bit. And, but we ended up seeing Brock on the offense for a hot minute. It looked like this match was pretty much just going to be over and done with. It was actually a spot where you could actually see Rey Mysterio sliding over the announcer's table because Brock sent him crashing through that bad boy and everything. Saw a German suplex onto a pipe as well that was brought in the ring, basically by Ray and everything, setting it up. It's a whole lot of crap that was going on. Dominic came running down to the ring, begging Brock to stop, leave his dad alone, let him be. And Brock actually grabs Dominic by the throat and everything. Ray comes back, hitting on him a little bit. Brock tries to take care of him real quick. Dominic hits Lesnar with a low blow. Then you have the father and son. What great bonding time, too, as we're getting ready to go into the Thanksgiving holiday. What better way for a father and son to bond together than by cracking some nuts, right? And you got Dominic just doing the low blow to Brock Lesnar. This basically had set up Ray hitting Brock with a pipe as Dominic hits him with a steel chair. I was thinking for a brief second maybe Dominic was going to turn on his dad here. I was kind of looking for it, but it didn't happen. Not yet, at least. Not yet. And they both ended up doing the stereo 619. Yeah, both of them hit the 619s. And after that, we saw Dominic. He went to the top rope, hit the frog splash. We see Ray. Ray was... I think Ray did do a frog splash as well. Try to go for a cover. Dominic actually jumped on his dad to make sure they could do like a double cover. Make sure that Brock didn't kick out. But Brock did manage to kick out. And I love how they sold that. Brock was just so damn strong that like it sent Dominic kind of bouncing off of his dad. And Ray kind of bounced off. Dominic tried to go for another high risk maneuver, as did Ray. Lesnar already comes to. Charges at Dominic, who has his back turned so he can't see that Brock's already rebounded, coming towards him. Gave him a back suplex, if I remember it right. Then goes for Ray. Ray tries to look for a high-risk maneuver, throwing himself at Lesnar. Lesnar just basically catches that, counters it into a F5. Bam! 1, 2, 3. Lesnar, still your WWE champion, world heavyweight champion. Like the psychology of that one. Psychology of that one was actually pretty good. Enjoyed that. It was pretty good. I like that. I know, Chicago was kind of, with Lesnar, but, now you can't help but wonder exactly, okay, so what's next here? What's next? Because we have an interesting dilemma. Because essentially you could say Lesnar got his revenge finally. And so now, as a result, Lesnar can now go back to SmackDown. But wait, there is a champion over there on SmackDown. So are we setting up some type of a inevitable match? Are we setting up something between Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar? Like, is that even possible? We're going in that direction, or is Rey Mysterio still obsessed with Brock Lesnar, that he's not done with him just yet? Like, that's something that you got to peep out. And I think when we get ready to go into Monday Night Raw, we should have a lot more answers as far as what's going to be happening next, because the next WWE pay-per-view that's going to be going down from here, it's going to be, I see we got Starrcade. Starrcade is going to be coming up on December 1st. It's going to be in Georgia at the Infinite Energy Arena. And then we're going to have TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. That's going to be going down in Minneapolis, Minnesota on December 15th. So, kind of interesting. How's everything going to be panning out? We're going to have to go into Monday night to have a better idea on how all of that is going to pan out. We already talked about the women's main event match. We pretty much opened up the show with that. But I would say in retrospect, with regards to tonight's Survivor Series pay-per-view, I would say, look, pretty damn good. I would have to say pretty damn good. They brought it. I don't really have anything to crap on for this pay-per-view, really. Not that I was looking for things to crap on, because I wasn't. For me, it was just all about being able to kick back, have some really good, entertaining fun. I enjoyed this Survivor Series more so than the last Survivor Series. And just looking at the card from last year's Survivor Series for you guys, for those of you that might be a little bit curious, what happened at last year's Survivor Series? Last year's Survivor Series, we saw Team SmackDown, the Usos, New Day, Sanity, Gallows and Anderson, and the Colognes. They defeated Team Raw, which consisted of Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Revival, the B Team, Lucha House Party, and the Ascension. Then you had a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. It was Team Raw, which consisted of Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Bayley, Sasha Banks, defeating Team SmackDown, Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Mandy Rose. Seth Rollins had a champion versus champion match. He was holding the Intercontinental Championship. He took on Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura was the United States champion. AOP, Razor, and Akeem, the Raw Tag Champions at that time, with Drake Maverick, they took on The Bar, Cesaro, and Sheamus, who were holding the SmackDown Tag titles. They had Big Show in their corner, and as I mentioned, AOP, they had Drake Maverick. Buddy Murphy had took on Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship. And then you had a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw consisted of Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, taking on Team SmackDown, Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy. Ronda Rousey took on Charlotte Flair, and Brock Lesnar took on Daniel Bryan, champion versus champion match. Now, I do remember giving that Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan match a lot of praise. I do remember that one. I also remember giving praise for the Buddy Murphy Ali match as well. And I don't really remember. I want to say I might have gave also some props to the pre-show match as well, but don't quote me on that. I know for a fact I gave a nod to Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I definitely know that for certain. But yeah, I kind of like this card more than last year's Survivor Series. So I give it a thumbs up. As far as scale of 1 to 10, I will say the pay-per-view, I give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I can't go any higher. I can't go any lower. I would give the pay-per-view a 8 out of 10. Let's see what you guys had said, because I'm looking at the polling results here. As we're winding down here. Right now, we got a poll on YouTube. Click on the Communities tab. And for those of you that, what's the link? YouTube.com/RCWR Show. For those of you that's going to be listening to the audio version of this on demand or on the downloads. All right, so YouTube, we got you guys giving the pay-per-view a 67% thumbs up. 33% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Meanwhile, on Twitter, interesting, we got 59% of you that's giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 41% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So if you have not voted yet, just take your pick. You can either vote on YouTube or you could vote on Twitter. Just make sure your voice is heard. You don't have to double vote. I don't want you guys double voting. Just cast one vote only, and go from there. And don't feel bad, Mish. Mish said, Wolf, I'm on a losing streak. It's like, yeah, feels like Susan Lucci. Don't it? Yeah. See, this was a good card though. Tweet that out to him real quick. Okay, so we got that going. All right, so next up, that's it. We're on break for now. Like I said at the very top, I'm going to be coming right back in about 2 hours. And I'm going to review the Stone Cold interview with Undertaker. And if I remember this right, this is supposed to be a 2-hour interview. I hope the last thing that they do is 1 hour here, and then Monday night will be, I hope they're not doing it like that, because I want to be able to sit down and really be able to enjoy the 2 hours of Undertaker. So I will definitely be checking that out. So if you happen to be around, and the reason why I'm going to be coming back to do that is because I actually don't have to worry about work for Monday. I actually had switched it out, because normally when we do our Survivor Series shows, and then after I'm done remixing, editing, I'm typically not in the bed until like 2:30 in the morning on pay-per-view nights. And then I got to turn right back around in just a handful of hours and then go to work. So I didn't want to deal with that for Survivor Series, especially not knowing how long the pay-per-view was going to be and everything. And so I'm actually not dealing with work Monday. So I'll be coming right back in a couple of hours, and we'll do that live review of the Stone Cold Undertaker. That should be great. I'm looking forward to that. And then for those of you that are a little bit curious about what's going on with our Painting with Lee series, I'm actually going to do Painting with Lee sometime Monday. I'm thinking maybe afternoon or something like that. I'll probably do something like that. Yeah. And also, before we get ready to wrap it up, come on, man, we got to give it up to our Patreon members. And we also got to give it up to some of our show sponsors. Let me first recognize some of our show sponsors. Shout out to LeafyAssets.com. If you are a real estate investor, entrepreneur, LeafyAssets.com can help you. Their number one agenda, their number one mission is to help make your business successful. And that is with great financial growth, right? You got to make sure you continue to stay cash flow positive, right? So again, if you are a entrepreneur, if you are a real estate investor, check them out, leafyassets.com. Also, shout out to the good kind people behind the movie President Evil. Check that out if you guys like dark humor, comedy, and all that. 3 girls during the November midterm elections, they are stalked by a deranged killer that's dressed as the President of the United States. You can see the trailer, buy the movie on Amazon.com. Also, I want to give a shout out to SHEABoo.com. SHEABoo.com, they've got some of the best skincare products on earth, all natural, all made with shea butter. Man, you can't go wrong with that. You know how healthy that is for your skin and all that. Whether you're a woman or a man, they got products for both. So represent, check them out, SHEABoo.com. And also, there's somebody else that I am forgetting right now. It was a new sponsor, but the other two that I'm thinking of, for you dog lovers out there, and shout out to the kind people behind petfudio.com, because that's the name of them. They actually had reached out to me privately and said, hey, with what you did on the WoW recap and everything, you actually saw a spike in our download. So, we want to thank you for that. I can't stress it enough. For you dog lovers out there, whether you are a dog owner or you know somebody that has a dog, I've got something free that you guys can check out. It doesn't cost you a thing. All you got to do is use my unique URL, petfudio.com/the RCWR Show. You spell that petfodio.com/the RCWR Show. Check that out, because these guys at petfudio.com, they are dedicated to educating dog parents on quality dog nutrition. They love dogs as much as you do, and one of the ways that they're helping you do that is they're giving everybody with that unique URL a free copy of their cookbook for doggy desserts. It gives you 10 recipes, colorful pictures, easy to follow instructions, and the best part, the doggy desserts that you make, your pets are going to love them, you're going to love them, but your pets are going to love you for making that for them, right? So check that out. Once again, petfudio.com the RCWR Show. You get yourself a free copy of that cookbook. You can't go wrong with that. And for those of you in the chat, I'll have that link be available for you guys right now. Right there you go, right there. So it's free. Also, I'm working out the kinks, but if you're not following me on Twitter, I actually on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the RCWR Show, I actually posted a message with a photo. I actually have in my possession, just a few days before its official worldwide release, Mayor Kane, WWE Hall of Famer Kane, well, soon to be WWE Hall of Famer Kane, being a little premature there. He's got a new book that's getting ready to drop. It's talking about his entire wrestling career, getting into politics and all that. Well, we actually had gotten an opportunity to receive some advanced copies of that book, and I'm actually going to be giving a copy away. I just haven't figured out the logistics on how and when I'm going to be giving it away, but do stay connected to me on social media, and you guys will definitely know when we're going to be giving that away. And also, I want to give a shout out to RCWR Show sponsor, the lovely Jessie Martinez, who has a book titled 52 Reasons to Live, Why Greatness Refuses to Die. The book provides a weekly dose of encouragement if you are feeling sad, stressed out, uncertain, anxious, and overwhelmed by issues happening in your life. I know around this time with the holidays, everybody is in a festive, joyful spirit. Not everybody can be that way. Well, this book offers a lot of encouragement for you or a friend that's facing difficult times and needing help and finding the positive in the middle of all of that chaos that's going on. You can have perseverance, build up courage, grow, all in the span of days, week to week and everything. So check that out. Pick up your copy on Amazon, or you can visit the website at aspireandreachformore.com, and you can check out that book and other books as well. And I should know, Jessie Martinez is a licensed professional counselor that loves writing books and helping people. That's her number one agenda, just helping people. And so I'm sure that she will definitely, through her books, will be able to help you out. And if you maybe need a little something outside of the books, I'm sure she could definitely help point you in the right direction as well further. One more time, let's look at the polling results of what we got here so far before we get ready to wrap it up. And yeah, Kev, 2 out of 8. 2 out of 8. I'm like, I mean, I got 3 out of 8, but everybody did bad tonight, man. All the shows did bad tonight, which is good. All right, so once again, Twitter, we're sitting on 59% thumbs down, 41% thumbs up for those of you that voted, what you had to say about Survivor Series. And on YouTube, we've got one last peekaboo here. And I'm curious where this is going to be 24 hours from now. And we've got 67% that gave the pay-per-view a thumbs up. 33% gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. All right, so on that note, guys, that is going to do it. Come on back in a couple hours. We'll do that Stone Cold Undertaker podcast review. Should be fun. And for everybody else, yes, there will be a Monday night show. Programming note, we'll do a Monday night show after Raw goes off the air. And we're going to be doing a Wednesday night edition of the RCWR show, like we always do, covering NXT and AEW Fallout. But then after that, going to be done for the rest of the week. I won't be back until the following Monday. So if you're not able to join me in checking out the last 2 shows, hopefully you can at least check out the audio version of the shows on demand and on downloads during your holiday activities. And if not, I will definitely catch you guys next week. Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, in case I don't get to chat with you guys Monday or Wednesday. A very good night, good morning. If you're waiting for the audio version of this, give me about 30 minutes and I will have this ready to go for y'all. Peace!